Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. We're back. It's game 4. We got ACEZer0187 versus Koi. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm Solsky and I'm joined by Apathy Duck, also known as Apathy Duck 07. How you doing?
Yo, how's it going? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, I'm fantastic. This is gonna be a barn burner of a match.
Yeah, it should be a good
Game
one.
4 action. Actually, there was a game 3, but they both tied, and this is pretty much the rematch. So it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, that last match came down to right down to the wire. Just came down to just getting their shots in again. And I think Koi missed a shot on Suffers, which pushed it into tie territory. So it should be a real good match.
And he opened Moldorm chests.
But
that was a mistake. We're not going to talk about that. But anyways, you know what? It's going to be a good one. I hope it's just as close. I really hope it's not a tie. But
yeah, not just
know,
as close.
I just
maybe like a second further apart would be great.
Yeah, but I'm hoping for just another great match.
Yeah, these are both real good randomizer players, so it should be an entertaining match. I mean, it came down to it's already in game 3, and then that tied, so I went to game 4. So these guys are definitely neck and neck with each other.
GLHF Koi. And then Koi.
And Koi.
Maybe it's one of those group messages. It's I Koi, GLHF Koi.
Yeah, I'll leave the T reading up to you.
And we're off. What kind of match are we playing today, Apathy?
Today is a standard assured match, so that means that we are starting with the escape sequence with the Moon Pearl in Link's chest. So you get the normal escape sequence, much like you would in the vanilla game, just with all the text boxes, and of course everything in here is randomized. And then AceZer picked Assured Sword, so Uncle is going to have a sword for us, guaranteed. So this opening is going to be pretty standard from what you would see in a normal, just vanilla run of this game. I'm
so glad you read the docket before the race, because I just literally blew in here a minute ago. So
yeah, I got you. Don't worry.
Good. Alright, so with that assured sword there, they're going to be able to just kind of swing away through those green guards. We do get a red cane from the start. AceZer and Koi both getting for the magic. I like that play. I always like trying to manage my resources as early as I can. So, you know, like your magic, your rupees, your bombs, arrows, just try to get those up as effectively as possible without really going kind of overstepping your bounds on the time costs.
Yep, magic can be a little tough before you complete at least one dungeon. After a dungeon, you're going to get a free refill right there. But you never know what it's going to be, and especially picking up a magic item right away. Just grabbing those 2 magic pots right there is going to be pretty helpful. Koi going for a left poke, doing a very nice job of it.
Yeah, I'd say Ace is more the traditional side, where you sort up to avoid any kind of hit on that blue guard and then release the double spin. With the left poke, correct me if I'm wrong, that would get you closer to the door with that.
They both will put the key in the same door. Left poke is technically a little bit faster, but you have to be very good at it to have it be actually faster. So most players just go with the up slash. They're pretty equivalent though overall in an RTA setting. And we're going to see everyone's favorite ball and chain guard coming up in a second. We'll see if both of these guys go with either 8/ or opt to use a pot to make the fight a little bit easier.
He's one of 2 ball and chain guards. It's not really that prestigious.
I mean, there's the ones in Aga. They're gold. Like I guess they're like higher rank or something.
Well, there's your 50%. Because those are like the only two you really deal with in the game, right? And then the other ones are just there for show. You just kind of avoid them in Aga Towers. So.
I think the only ones you ever really are going to see are the ones in Aga Tower. There's the two in the front, and then there's one you just kind of walk by later on in the Neapolitan room, as some people have been taking to calling it.
That's actually a good room name. I'm surprised coming from Link to the Past.
we do not have very good room names.
No, they're awful. They're actually really bad.
It's the second room in Ice Palace. We shall call it Ice 2.
You know, if you can just get the Super Metroid community with the Link to the Pack folks for like a weekend and just redo all the names, I'll start running MMG. I'll do it.
All right, good.
He's here taking another hit. He is down to 1 heart here. Should still survive quite well coming out. The real only danger he has to worry about is the Ropas, but other than that, he should be okay. Plus, there's a safety hot heart coming up in the first dark room here in the sewer sequence.
Yeah, nothing hits very hard in the back of Escape, but there's just a lot of RNG, and no matter how good you are, like people die in Escape all the time. And this, of course, being a kind of a one and done match. I wouldn't be surprised if we just pick up the safety heart. Would be a pretty smart play right here.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna go for it.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, minimal time loss and just not worth the risk of potentially dying in here. Just some of these enemies will just do bad things to you, and normally you'd have a boomerang in here too. So not having that, just having the sword makes a lot of sense. And he gets another heart there, so we're gonna be fine.
So Koi going for the rat kill strat here in the sewer. I call this the rat genocide just because there's about 6 rats up here and a lot of drop potential for bombs.
Yeah,
so
unfortunately,
that's what he's going.
Not gonna find. I'm almost positive he's not gonna find one in that pack. Oh, but there is the bomb pack right there. So the packs are now standardized to what the vanilla game is. They just are in different enemy groups than what they used to be. So you can tell if you're in a bomb pack right off the bat with some of these. And the rats are in one of the packs that don't have one. I'm almost pretty sure of. And so, but the bats are in a different one. He was able to get 8 off of that. Unfortunately, AceZer did not, and that. Oh, jeez. Well, that's going to be a thing.
So really, the only thing that could be at this point is Eastern Palace Armos with the advanced logic right now, at least. So, I mean, it sucks missing it, but you're probably gonna have opportunities to rotate it back.
Yeah, it's not that bad. With Mitts, that check becomes pretty quick. That's mainly just going to save Koi effectively like a good like 40 seconds over AceZer, who's gonna have to come back here for save and quit and redo the whole thing. But you know, if this seed ends up being loaded elsewhere, AceZer may just be like, well, I missed it early on, so I might want to skip it. So we'll see if it comes to be a major thing later on.
Yeah, we got an early map check there. 2 crystals and a pendant. A little early to kind of worry too much about that in the seed. We don't really have a lot of items going on. So whether or not they direct to dungeons or not really will be up to their preference.
The one nice thing about standard seeds over open is that it gives you a couple more opportunities for drops and stuff before you go into Kakariko to have bombs and money for the checks you need in here. So we're not seeing as much as the early like trying to like scramble over the place trying to find a bomb. We're just heading straight into Kakariko. AceZer's still looking for his bombs. Probably just going to buy some from the vendor down south.
Yeah, that's really where Koi's going to pick up on that time. So not only was he able to do back 3, but now he's not going to have to waste dead time in Kakariko going for these bombs.
Well, there's the gloves. Okay, so hopefully that fire rod's not going to be too much of a a decider for Acer on this.
That's always how it happens, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't have my bombs, and I get my glove, like, right away. Nice.
Yeah, these matches were so close. It'd be disappointing to see something as silly as that, bomb drop being the deciding factor in this series.
Yeah, but, I mean, you're gonna have so many points in the seed, right? Koi actually getting another bomb there from a crow on his way through, so fantastic. All right, so we're going to see a little bit of divergence here. We're going to get Blindside and Well at the exact same time.
Oh, there's they both find a shield. That's good. And the other boomerang. So for getting Blindside today wouldn't have been that big of a deal, which is always nice.
And it looks like AceZer scoring the first decisive victory of this match, getting Dark World access first. Doesn't really matter. They're gonna stick around, check out some stuff for now.
Yeah. So here, would you be thinking about heading straight into Dark World?
Yep.
Like just from Kakariko?
Yep.
Yeah. Same. So we'll see if either one makes that decision. It can be a little scary with just 4 hearts. I mean, not even just scary, like just slow with 4 hearts. You can't really tank anything. You got to take it pretty safe in Thieves Town, especially without boots. Hellway can just take years off your life.
It can. It just depends on how you're feeling, right? Like you can option right to Dark World via Kakariko, take care of Village of Outcasts in Thieves Town. I think a wiser one would just be to the S&Q, Hype Cave, S&Q, and then do so short at that point, just to get all that item density out of the way.
Yeah, it's pretty tempting not to have to make the walk back here and save that time. It looks like Acer is going to be making that play. We'll see if Koi follows up after he finishes his Kakariko checks.
What's bad in Acer's spot is that if Skullwoods is a crystal, then he's going to lose that early advantage route of Skullwoods to Thieves. Mainly because he's going to be leaving that Fire Rod behind in back 3.
And of course,
well, rip.
Yeah, that's not good. So unfortunately, yes, Thieves Town is a pendant, which is one that's always available as soon as you get to Dark World. And he's going to be going to Skullwoods. This is just really unfortunate. This is just not getting lucky on those drops is kind of coming back to haunt him right now.
And did I see a pendant swamp? Did somebody say hover seat? Nobody? Okay, good. I don't want anyone to say it.
Well,
you're like, I want it though.
I just want the boots. This game is so much better with the boots.
I agree, 100%. Yeah, it kind of sucks for Ace, but again, I mean, he's gonna run into the Fire Rod eventually. It's an opportunity time. I'm sure he'd want to challenge an early Moth, picking to go to Crystal's Skull early. Koi's going to go a little bit more conservative here. I'm not sure if he's going to go directly to Hype or if he's going to do South Shore first. Either's really fine. If you're lucky enough with it, you'll basically grab into the mirror. And is Koi going to be skipping Dam here?
He might get it on the way back because you have to come up this hill. I don't think it really much matters which order you do it. If you're going to go to... Yeah, because if you go to Hype, you got to go left.
Oh, he's just going to preserve and not S&Q. Okay, got it. That's a lot of travel, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but with the extra time on the save and quit menu, I think this is better.
Yeah.
That 1.5 seconds adds up.
It's
really
so
quickly.
long. Yeah, it's you're told like, hey, it's only a second and a half. You're like, oh, that's not that bad. And then you're in there and you're mashing. You probably get like 50 A inputs in there before it actually turns. And you're like, why?
If you play this game hundreds of times, it's like, did the game break?
Yeah. Honestly, it's challenged me to not save and quit in some scenarios because of it. so it actually
Yeah,
has
I mean,
changed a little bit.
there are some minor routing things it does actually change whether a save or quit, or like coming out of Agina, I believe is faster if you have flute now instead of saving and quitting, because it was pretty marginal to begin with. So minor stuff like that. So it's just something you have to pay attention to, and you do it 4 or 5 times in a seed, like that's those seconds can add up. Well, a little surprised Koi came all the way to Ice Rod Cave here with having the Dark World access.
Me too. I'm more surprised about the dam.
Yeah.
Wondering what's kind of going through with that one. Just because, again, 2 quick items. If you're looking at maybe S and Q route to a Tyrosora Cave end, and then you run into those flippers.
Yeah, maybe he's just
guess.
planning on comboing in directly with Hype Cave. I don't know, but if you were going to come down here, I think you might as well just, check it off. You can always like spike boots or something that makes this whole thing faster. I mean, he got lucky with flippers in Ice Rock Cave, and he's got enough money for Zora.
Yeah, but why would you combo it in without Mirror, though? Like, if you had Mirror, that makes sense, but yeah. We get our Master Sword check there on the Hylia Islands. That's nice. AceZer picking up a hot couple of items here in Thieves Town. That's a Titan Mitts, and that's a bow. A little concerning because that could push him away a little bit from that back 3. He might forget about it for a little bit. Like, he has a lot of options here, but
yeah,
wait and see.
Conversely, Koi may be less inclined. Well, I guess it's the first 4. Those are pretty easy checks. But Koi may be a little less inclined to come into Thieves with being able to full clear Skull Woods right off the bat.
Mitts were in Skull Woods. I mean, that's what I said, right? Right? I goofed. It's fine. All right, so hammer peg checks coming up from A0. Koi is gonna go ahead and flex on those flips. Gonna go ahead and check out the Zora area. He does have enough money for Zora. That is gonna leave him pretty shy for Dark World, though, so he's not gonna have enough rupees for Pod. He will have just enough for chest game, and he will definitely not have enough for Dig. Getting a quick medallion, though, in the left chest there.
Maybe we'll get the rarely seen standard seed arrow game. That'd be exciting.
That'd actually be pretty good. That'd be probably the most heads up.
One time I actually routed it in, and then I forgot to go in. I was like, I need money. I should do arrow game, and then I just forgot, and I left, and I was like,
yup. Because it's like a one-off, and you're thinking muscle memory, and it just takes over, and then you're like 5 minutes later, you're like, oh, that's what I meant to do. Whoops. Happens every seed.
The good old walking up to Pod with 80 rupees.
Hey, Ace, take those bombs. It's a sign. It wants you to bomb things. He's gonna walk away. Zora also having bombs, except a lot more expensive than AceZer's 80 rupees. So, rip.
So right now, Armos is in Logic, and everything but Dark Maze and Helma is in Logic and Pod. So Pod is looking... I mean, these runners could definitely complete it in the dark. Just Helma wouldn't actually be in Logic right now with just the Fire Rod. Yeah, and that's a good point. Fire Rod for Turtle Room does make it a lot easier. So if Acer does decide to make the Pod play, with only 6 hearts, that Turtle Room is a bit of a nightmare, to be honest.
Definitely. He does have some outs there. He does have Bombos he can utilize against the Terrapins or flips. He could use the Red Cane block to essentially identify where they are. So if you place the Red Cane block down on those Terrapins, when they walk through, their shadow will actually eclipse it. So you'll be able to see when there are, and you can basically hammer them at that point.
I did not actually know that.
A little bit of a hot tip. Solski exclusive for this stream today.
And AceZer making this play into pod just makes perfect sense.
Yeah, especially without the fire rod for sure. But again, he's just kind of putting off that back 3. Luckily, it wasn't like boots. Because if it's boots, then he just has all this overworld travel where Koi would have had dash power for it, and it just would have been a lot of time lost. But the fire rod really isn't too big yet, but we'll have to wait and see how this kind of progresses and how long he kind of puts it off.
Yeah, right now it's our only fire source is the main thing, and it's definitely required to actually complete the game because of Skullwoods and Turtle Rock being crystals. So he will definitely have to get in there, but overall, unless there's something really big in the back of Skullwoods. Did we only see one item in Skullwoods? I know
Yeah,
we
that
had
was
the mitts.
that was the mitts. Yeah.
Okay, so unless there's something big, the other item in the back of Skullwoods is something big as well. Fire Rod's really not blocking anything, except for maybe Logical Dark Room access, which again isn't going to slow either one of these guys down.
I feel like the big one for now, and this is probably the most forward in the spheres, if you will, would be Ice Palace, right? With that fire rod, you have those Titans, you have the flippers. Even worse is if that AceZer does not find that fire rod, then he's just gonna think that's the thing with Bombos. So I think that's we'll have to wait and see how that one plays out.
Yeah, I mean, you can get when you get really deep into seeds and you skipped early items, like it really feels unlikely that what you're missing actually is in one of those earlier spheres. So it's really easy just to put it off till really late in the game. And it's also it's nothing you can really combo in with anything. You have to. It's kind of a check by itself. Like even if you try to do it in the Dark World, it's a one-way trip, so you can't like come back out and do it because walking up the sanctuary is slow.
For sure. All right, so it looks like Koi is heading on over to the Warp at 3. More than likely gonna check out Skull and Village of Outcast. Probably goes towards Skull first, just having that fire rod and it being a crystal, so he'll be rewarded with those Titans eventually. And then it's just a challenge to see if he dips first 4 pen of the pod for those for that bow.
Yeah, if he does do Skullwoods first, which feels likely, those mitts may just pull him a little bit away from Thieves Town. Like I said, a lot of people will check first 4 pretty much no matter what, but depending on how aggressive he feels like being.
Thieves is always a weird one. I feel like you can't go wrong with checking first 4. It's so appropriate. It's like it's I feel it's stronger than going to Skull, regardless if you complete it. Because it's an easy 4 chest. Now you might not get anything in those first 4 chests, but it's very, very quick.
Yeah, and especially with it, you know, being a pennant and all, like it lets you, like if there's only one item up there, it lets you kind of know how valuable the full dip of Thieves Town is going to be. So you have that information for later on when you're kind of running out of checks and you need to start looking at pendants.
All right, so Koi is indeed going to go ahead to Skullwoods first.
It looks like he's going to be doing back to front, which this is just straight up the more sensible way of doing this when you have the fire rod and can full clear the dungeon.
I honestly like to go to the mid first anyways,
yeah,
especially now with that chest and pinball. Yeah, just because I can get that key right from the left. If I don't get a key in the big key chest here, then I would just go through the regular route and not worry about getting trapped or anything like that, or doing it through the pits and just losing time.
I think the big thing with checking Moth first is since you're always going to kill Moth no matter what, if in like a situation where it's crystal, what it does is when you're clearing out the front, you can stop as soon as you find all the items, as opposed to you have to keep going, and if there is an item on Moth, you're going to end up full clearing it no matter what. So I think that's the main upside to doing back first, and it just makes the routing a little bit easier.
It does. The 2 chests that AceZer just checked for 2 keys is actually in logic with that fire rod as well.
Yeah, the only things that won't be is the Dark Maid, and there's another. So Bow is bow locked. Now that is logic breakable with the potion camera unlock. So if Koi for some reason decides to come straight here, he will get rewarded with a bow. But that would feel like a kind of a sketchy play.
Yeah, I don't like. Let's put ourselves in their shoes. I don't know if I'm too excited about finding both bows there, just because like that bow is incredibly in path. But you're just like, hey, that's nice, especially it's only fighter sword. Ace doesn't know where Master Sword is yet, but we will require the mirror that may or may not be available in the seed. Basically because Swamp Palace is dependent. Quite having a little bit of trouble here with Moth here, down to 2 hearts. Gonna have to be careful. Charging out Fighter Sword spins, risky right now at this point.
Yeah, the fighters or any spins at all. Moth has this weird property. If you knock him into the spikes, the spike damage overwrites the sword damage, when Moth's program takes 0 damage. Spins are even weirder with that, and you can actually kind of spin him to the spikes and sometimes get hits. So spins are pretty effective on this, especially with Master Sword than Fighter Sword. But it's a pretty good strat. It's just your movement's slow and you're pretty easy. It's pretty easy to just get hit by something in that fight.
For sure.
He gets through it nicely. So
yeah, he did, using those kind of like Helma poke strats there, which was really good. I was just worried because like anytime like you channel out your sword forward spin, you just lose a lot of momentum speed, and especially in a track room when you're fighting it. Like those spikes can just eat you alive, man. So it's really tough. But AceZer going ahead and picking up his fire rod now, so that's good news.
did Ace not finish pod? I was watching the. He definitely didn't, because he was checking the Dark Maze when Koi was in, and there's no way he got to Helma that fast.
Yeah, no, he got picked chest impaled.
That is a little surprise. I guess, I mean, that turtle room is just terrible. So probably just not feeling comfortable clearing it without fire rod. So that means he is probably pretty salty about finding that fire rod immediately after dipping out of pod.
Well, I mean, the good news is he's doing the right play. He got the fire rod, and he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna do Crystal Eastern and then go right back to pod at this point. And yeah, there's a little bit of travel loss there, but he can just go ahead. And hey, look at that! Look at that! Your third fastest item per minute in Light World has an item. Who would have thought?
Now, hopefully he realizes what just happens and goes straight to Dark World right here. And is he gonna go?
Yeah, he's gonna go. He's gonna drop down.
Make it all the way down. All right, good.
There we go.
Willing him to go to Dark World first. So, kind of, yeah, definitely bailed out there a little bit by finding, getting the fire rod where we know it was, and then getting the mirror and Sasha that he can just combo pod right back into Eastern right here. So, yeah, it sucks that he had to come out of there, but overall, it's not going to be that big of a deal.
You want to know what sucks even more?
Oh, no.
That AceZer didn't get his boots when he's the first time in Skull.
That fire rod is just coming back to haunt him.
That's really unfortunate. So, Koi hasn't done the Southern Loop yet. Like, he's done Hype Cave, but he hasn't done, like, say, the Stumpy and Dead Game. So, he'll pick up a little bit of time, especially in the Thief check and the Village Bellcast check. So, it's going to be an advantage. The mirror is nice for now for Ace, but Koi is going to eventually go there. Like, Eastern's a crystal, Pod's a crystal. Like, he's destined to go there. So Ace is kind of on borrowed time. He needs to get back to Skull like soon.
Yeah, I think.
And if he goes to Ice first, that's going to be a problem for him, I think.
Well, we'll see what Koi decides to do here in a second. But Ace's best hope right now is Koi gets pretty happy with this haul that he got in Skull Woods and doesn't even touch Thieves Town, which had the bow.
You're right about that too, because that could put him towards maybe Ice Palace. He'll have a Master Sword on the way, like if he does do Sash Cave first, for example. But we'll have to wait and see how that breaks.
He does dash right past Thieves. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's really, I don't even know like what a good routing is for
really
these overworld checks. Yeah, it's this weird like triangle, and you just kind of have to go out of your way on at least one of them. So
And
we'll know right after Bomb Hut whether he's deciding to fully skip the Steve's template or not.
yeah,
Although if you were going to go in there and not clear it, right, I think you would just do it on the way over, right?
Yep.
So maybe it's thinking.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, if you have boots, there's not really too much optimization in VO, but if you're walking, there is. And yeah, it looks like he's saying no.
This is just what these guys have so far missed from each other is definitely making this interesting so far. Yeah, and now AceZer using that fire rod in this room. Yeah, trying to kill these guys without that fire rod or a light source is just, it's no good.
Gets it through pretty good though. That was nice.
Yeah, and just opts to tank the turtle hits on the way back to Helma. Helma's gonna be pretty straightforward with Silver. It's gonna be 17 hammer hits in the first phase, and just gonna finish him off most likely with one silver shot to the dome.
Ace, please. There we go. All right, the first arrow shot, guys, was just his warm up.
It was a calibrating shot.
Yeah, he had to play against the wind. So the draft right from the door entry. Oof.
Yeah, plus the tail just stirring up all the air in the room. It just makes it kind of hard.
All right, so I'm not sure if it was mentioned or not yet, but Helmasaur himself was a sequence break. So Ace was not meant to defeat him just yet, but being a crystal, might as well get it out of the way. Most of Eastern is in logic with that fire rod only. The only chest that is not in logic in Eastern right now is the big key chest. So that one is not in logic. So if the big key is there, that means that the lamp will be behind Eastern.
Yeah. And I mentioned it being out of logic like 3 times, just to let you know.
I'm really tuned into this race right now.
And Koi's gonna let us know whether Ag isn't required at all the seed. Not here in a second. This is just Bonk Rocks. It gives us $50.
And
Nope,
Koi
I'm
gonna
a
go
liar.
up to the mountain. I think Koi checked it out a little bit earlier, but I wasn't sure what it was.
No, maybe.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was anything useful.
Oh, we can appeal to our tracker. Mine of me is one of the best trackers. It was Bomb. See, look at that. Trackers saving our bacon once again.
Oh man, saving your bacon, I think.
Old man tipping us for saving him.
He's like the worst, isn't he? Like he never gives anything good for saving him. You like escort him through 3 dark rooms, and
I don't know,
like,
man. He gives me the
$20.
mirror. He gives me the mirror like every time. So pretty
in
pretty
NMG
useful.
runs, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if there is an item here on AceZer's side, because this is the only item that is not in logic right now, as mentioned before. Kind of feels unlikely the way the seeds is playing out. I kind of feel like, well, all right. So that is definitely required.
Yep. So again, Eastern behind that lamp. So, but he's still gonna do it for sure. Like, almost nice with Fire Rod is in logic, but that whole hallway requires the lamp, quote unquote. But it's free and easy, right?
With Fire Rod, it's the rooms pretty much plays out like normally. Just Fire Rod to the right and go through the room. It looks like Koi is... Nope. Oh, he never checked Hobo, I think?
No, they're going to ice.
Oh, Ice Palace, right. Yeah, that's in logic. A little surprising making this play so
Yeah.
early, just with Fighter Sword and Hammer. It's not that I'm worried that someone's going to die in here. It's just Fire Sword is pretty slow. They do have Bombos and Fire Rod, though. Fire Rod does Gold Sword damage on Cold Stare, so it'll make that fight a lot easier.
So I'd expect anyone in groups right now to be able to handle this no problem. Being a Fighter Sword Ice, I know it's not ideal. I think if I want to put myself in Koi's position, he doesn't have that bow, right? Otherwise, Eastern and Pod would be well on the radar. At this instance, I mean, though it kind of just feels like, hey, this is my best option being a Crystal, so I feel it. Ace's kind of story now. He has Eastern and Pod done. I'm kind of concerned he's not going to go to Skull. I'm very concerned he's going to go up to that mountain and do East Death Mountain, Dark World Death Mountain without those boots. So let's see what decision he decides to make.
Yeah, and either one of those is going to start at Sanctuary, so we're not going to know until he actually heads up there.
Yeah, and right now, East Death Mountain would be a sequence break. We don't have a flute or a lamp, but it's a lot of items up there. So, and
Yeah.
it's a hair poke if you want to do that, and it's a TR scout. So.
You kind of stop worrying about lamp logic once you have the fire rod, because the main thing it's going to block you from is, or hard block you from, is fire locked items like torches behind Inhera or left side Nizri Mire. And since we have the fire rod, we can do all the dark rooms. Like, you just kind of stop caring about the lamp whatsoever. It doesn't exist effectively. And if you find it, then great.
Right. I think at this point with Mire being a crystal, I wouldn't worry about it now. I would be worried about it if I do the play that Ace is doing and I don't find a flute by then. Because then I know, hey, there's a good 50-50 chance my flute's in the southern part of Hyrule here and I need to find it. So. But yeah, gonna be chugging along, walking East Death Mountain. That kind of sucks. So he's gonna be losing time. It's more of it's kind of like Aiken to chip damage, right? Like it's not gonna show right away, but he's just gonna be slower the longer he does not find those boots.
Yeah, boots only save something like 2.5 to like 3 minutes for like 20 minutes of play like that, which, I mean, definitely adds up. But if you know if you don't find them like right on top of your phone, it's not the worst thing. But yeah, the longer this goes on, the worse it's going to be.
Right. It's relevant to, of course, like what locations you're checking. This one is very overworld travel heavy, so that's where it really impacts missing out on those spin speeds, going up and just going along just makes it much faster.
Yeah, I think his Ace's one saving grace is since Koi did skip Thieves Town, it's probably gonna be a while before he gets back there. In fact, I'm almost gonna say I think it's probably more likely that Koi's gonna find the bow sequence broken in the back of Pod before he finds the one in Thieves Town.
It's possible if he chases the crystals for sure. I think that's a good possibility. I'd be interested to see if he chases Eastern before Pod in that instance. I feel like whenever there's no bow until then, it's almost a safer play to make that decision, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Pod just has a lot of items, and you can kind of make the problem with Koi in Thieves Town right now is, he already did hammer. I think he did hammer pegs. I know AceZer did.
He did hammer pegs, yeah.
He did hammer pegs. There's just not a lot left to pull him back over there. There's the 2 items left in the Smith sequence, but that's pretty long anyways. So I just don't know when Thieves Town is going to pop back up on his radar. If the item that AceZer was missing wasn't the boots, AceZer would have a pretty decent lead here, I would think. It's just that those boots speed you up so much that it's nothing was locked behind those boots so far, so it's not locking progression, but it's just making everything Koi does faster.
For sure. I mean, like if he had those boots, he's basically in the driver's seat in the seed, right? Just with the decisions he's made so far. But it wouldn't be a randomizer 1v1 without there being some kind of diversity like this, where there's just two items kind of putting both our runners in different paths, and that's what we're observing right now. I'm actually really enjoying it. This is a pretty fun start to the race.
Yeah, and again, it all came down to AceZer not getting a bomb drop in escape. That's pretty much what has caused all the divergence that we've seen so far.
That's scary. What do you think about that? It's like, it's one simple thing you don't really put a lot of thought into, but man, has it been big. And when you mentioned that, I wonder if Ace is thinking, well, I don't really want to waste the time going back because Koi might have gotten it earlier, kind of thing. So it could be one of those things as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah, especially since there was already an item, a fairly big item too, in Myth in the Woods. You know, I've mentioned this on a bunch of these random streams I've done, but like, especially in these 101s, when you've kind of missed something, or like, you know, something like that fire rod happens where you get it a lot later than you feel like you should have had it. You kind of mentally put those checks a little bit further back in your mind because you're worried that if something is there, it could be the match, and you really need it to be somewhere else for you to still have a chance in it.
This is interesting. Early TR axis, no ice rod, no flute, no hook shot.
We're still gonna be. He's still gonna be finishing off all the rest of the checks on Death Mountain before even considering going in here. So maybe we'll spike an ice rod, which would be nice. In which case, this AceZer definitely has. Again, can't necessarily say an advantage because of those boots. You know, Koi's gonna have Ice Palace done before him. So I mean, it's really hard to say who's really doing better in this one.
Apathy. I played a lot of Randomizer. Trust me when I say this, the ice rod will be where you don't want it to be.
I know.
And then we get a book. So that's now desert access. Out of logic, but it's there.
Desert logic plus you kind of feel obligated to go back and check Ether at this point. You can't get it, unfortunately.
It's the worst too, and he doesn't have boots. So that's like an extra 15 seconds probably stacking on a travel.
So much stuff has happened to this seed. I even forgot. AceZer never did Ice Rod Cave for the flippers, which is I mean, we don't technically ever need them. The only thing that's going to get you is that Master Sword. So that means, well, I guess we're not in logic because you don't have lamp or flute, but theoretically, Koi could get the Master Sword, and AceZer couldn't if AceZer never finds those flippers. If Salt Palace isn't a thing,
for sure. Koi finishing off Coulter there. Nice fight. He's gonna have some Q. Where's he gonna go next?
This is definitely some of the more interesting divergence that I've ever seen.
Yeah, for sure.
Normally it's just like, oh, one guy went to this place first, and the other guy went to. But this is like they have different items. There's different things they've skipped. Like, and it all just spiraling from a super early, like almost inconsequential thing in most seeds.
Yeah. This is an odd play here. Koi going ahead to check out the mountain. Like, I get it because he has the old man warp. It's fast, but it's not in logic right now. He has other options down below.
Not
if he spikes an item,
and it's only 2 checks.
Yeah.
So
again, they're quick checks, so it's kind of overthinking it here, but still. I guess though, like the point to be had, if there was like a really nice item there, a big item, he'd be really happy, right?
Yeah, it's surprising he's dodged Sarasha's closet. So at this point, maybe he's thinking he wants to make the bow plus mirror play into pod and Eastern, which would be. What were you saying about the ice rod?
Why can't I play this seed? Like, what is this, dude?
If I was playing the seed, I'd be the guy who didn't get the fire rod of the bomb.
Rip you then, because if we were racing, you'd be correct. But yeah, that's a nice rod for like the first time in randomizer history. It's not in Turtle Rock, so yeah, now AceZer is now going to go up to Turtle Rock. It is 100%. There's no, hey, I'm just going to go here. No, he's going to go to Turtle Rock and clear that out. It's easy peasy 6 items.
Yeah, this makes 100% sense. one of the things in Randomizer you're really trying to do is minimize your trips up to Death Mountain. Since he's already invested a trip up here, the only thing he's ever going to have to come up back here for is Hookshot Cave, maybe. So hopefully Hookshot Cave is not going to be something, and he gets all the checks done in one, and then he'll only have to come back up here for Gan's Tower at the end.
All right. Also, guys, continue your excitement, but we have a 43-minute dam check. AceZer is not checked dam yet, and Koi is just the first runner to get there.
What would be the dumbest thing? Flute.
Hookshot or a flute, yeah.
Flute. No, I think flute would be
maybe lamp. Maybe lamp. I don't know, but
yeah, lamp could be right.
Aw, that would have been so good though. Can you imagine like flute? I agree with you though. Flute would have been like the absolute worst.
Well, especially, I mean, flute not just because it's needed to finish the seed, but flute just speeds you up so much faster.
Yep.
Speeds you up faster. Yes.
It's also required for Meyer. It would probably push Koi towards Meyer too, rather than say go ahead and invest into that Eastern Pod adventure. Because I think you're right. If he passed on Thieves for now, he's just gonna say.
AceZer showing off while he's still in this tournament. I am not, by going the correct way in this room without hookshot.
What a gamer!
The amount of times I've gone, or anyone has gone the wrong way in that room.
I think AceZer was hoping to be able to push that block, but unfortunately, he just gets a hook. He just gets a hook shot instead. Man,
so this is just.
So we're potentially flew away from go mode now.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy that the guy that dodged boots is just god routing the seed. I mean, just being able to full clear this mountain in one go. He's gonna go
to Skull next. Like I just cannot see how you say, hey, I don't want to go on my fourth crystal. The only other options I may see are Desert and Ice. Ice, let's just rule out now because he doesn't have flippers. I don't even think he's gonna find him the seed at this point. And
the only way he's gonna find
Desert's a walk, a real long walk, and it might be boot locked. So I think the for sure thing would be Skull here, but we'll have to wait and see. Koi going to Thieves, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, he really doesn't have a lot left at this point. He still has avoided Sarashula, though, so that is... I know you're a fan of just kind of beelining Sarashula, whatever his name is, Jesus.
Sahasrahla. Say it with me, chat. Sahasrahla. Not Sahasrahla.
The old elf with the old elf with the cowboy hat in Eastern. Like, I know you're a big fan of going there early.
Yeah, it's again
Koi's really put the thing off.
Like I'll outline, it's Sphere Zero. It's the third fastest item per minute in the game for your opening, right? Like nothing really beats it except for Kakariko and South Shore. And that's not including Dam as well. So I see a lot of people put it off because they're like, oh, well, then it bookends Eastern in a lot of scenarios. But I mean, it's an easy 3 items though, right? Like you can heads or tails it if you want to go to Eastern or not. I just always advocate going there. Like if you're I'll put it to you guys this way. If you're willing to go to Skull and might not get any items, like why would you not go for a free 3 items? It just blows my mind.
I think the main thing with doing it early, we're just gonna say it now to avoid saying his name, is that it minimizes your downside is the main thing. You throw away 20-ish seconds for making a trip over here when you're probably gonna have to come back to Eastern anyways, and but like if you put it off like Koi has and it's a big item like Mirror, it can just really bad things can happen.
Yeah, but speaking in the same breath though, Koi now getting that bow from Thieves, made the right play, dipped out. He knows he has 2 crystals ahead of him. Has now gotten that mirror. Like he's got a lot of pull now. Like he has boots for I'm gonna say at least 25 minutes where AceZer is not, and he's gonna eventually go up to that mountain. He'll have to deal with Eastern Pod first, but he's gonna do it just a little bit faster, right? So I would say at this point Ace is at borrowed time. He's gonna want to find that flute first and fast, or else it's gonna get really dangerous.
Yeah, flute in. Well, I don't even know if flute and hookshot would really be the best case for Ace, because Koi will just stumble into that when he comes up to this Death Mountain trip. And there's really not too much longer Koi could potentially even put off the Death Mountain trip. I can't really see him doing any other time besides just next.
Yeah.
Although it is still completely out of logic, which is kind of interesting.
So that's my next question for you. So let's put ourselves in. I'm gonna say both our runner's shoes because Koi's gonna find the hookshot in the book eventually, anyways. In the mountain, that'll be his next play. What do you do? Do you go ahead and chase that hookshot in that book and go to Desert Swamp exclusive, or do you maybe say, you know what, let's finish the rest of Thieves? Because I still don't have my entryway to the mountain. That could be the flute, and that could be your Gomo potentially. So you're willing to risk that time for another 2 minutes independent dungeon, or do you want to just kind of try and push ahead? What would you do?
I think I would be inclined to go to Desert here. Kind of hope that what you skipped was the flute. The fact that you haven't found the flute yet, and like flute locks less by itself than the lamp does. Lamp also locks all these dark rooms. Flute only locks Death Mountain and the Mire area. And if a situation where flute was available early, especially on one of these 101s, and something I missed, I may just feel like I'm in too big of a hole at that point anyways. So I think I'd be inclined to do Desert next in AceZer's shoes. In Koi's shoes, I don't see that there really being any other play than going up to Death Mountain. There's just too many eyes up there, and like I said, you're not really too worried about it being logic locked because of the lamp.
I agree. I think I would push Desert as well, just having those boots and knowing that I can full clear it in this instance. I think, again, the big caution I'm going to have here is that Lamp did not lock anything at all in what we found other than potentially mountain access. And at best, that's a 50-50 coin flip.
Yeah.
I think I think you're right. You just chase the free crystal here. You hope that Flute's going to be there. It could still be here in TR. We don't know that yet. But I think before I decide to maybe go for a swamp, I have to just kind of maybe count my blessings and say, am I sure this is the right play? Do I want to commit like 6 minutes to swamp?
Yeah, and I think the other, putting myself in AceZer's shoes, the fact there's only one item left in Skullwoods now, in his mind, he may just be thinking like, well, it's just a crystal. I just have to do it whenever before I finish. And in that general vicinity, I still have the rest of Thieves Town and like the Smith sequences, which are kind of long things you don't want to do. So I think he's going to put that whole play off until he's ready to kind of commit to those slower checks again. So, you know, it may be a minute before he gets these boots.
Right.
And of course, he doesn't. AceZer just might be thinking this is not a boot. Like you said, Desert may not be boots locked. Nothing has been boots locked so far, progression-wise. AceZer just might be thinking, oh, this is just not a boots seed, you know. So I can't really see him putting Skullwoods too heavily in his mind and avoiding Desert really that much.
I think just from a stats standpoint, it just makes sense because you never know, right? Like you would probably want to push there first just because you know you can complete it, but it's kind of a shoulda, woulda, coulda scenario, I guess, at this point. And also, just to kind of put in mind too, I don't think Ace has done Southern Hyrule yet because like he hasn't done Ice Rock Cave. I don't remember if he's done South Shore as well. I know he definitely hasn't done Dams.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he never, because he just went straight to Kakariko, and then he found Bo, went over to Pod.
So there's a lot of
I think he came south to Hype Cave into Pod after that Bow. I don't think he's saved and quit there. Oh, but Mini Moldorm, that's right. Mini Moldorm is what he did.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah, I mean.
These are having a very nice hammer only fight on Trinex. Fighter Sword is basically useless here, so we just have to do a bunch of hammer hits.
Yep.
There's really not a good Gan strategy for the situation AceZer's in, and just kind of muscles his way through it and does a pretty nice job of it. It's never going to look pretty with this loadout, and he's alive. That's really what matters at this point.
All right, so Koi is on his way to Pod. Again, the dominating availability for him would be up to the mountain. And he knows that he doesn't have that lamp or flute as well. He will not find it in Pod, as Ace has already shown us. It's really going to be interesting to see where this item ends up being and which item was meant to get him up to the mountain at this point. I think that's the real big narrative here. Like you mentioned, it was the fire rod early was the really cool kind of divergent route, and I think what's going to decide the mid to egg game is really, hey, where was my lamp? Where was my flute? And was I right about it? And there's the flute.
So lamp has got to be somewhere.
Wow.
They basically don't care anymore, except. Well, we don't know what Mire Medallion is yet. I expect AceZer to be beelining there as fast as humanly possible.
So,
which just means that boots is going to be further away.
You mentioned he might not even get boots. Like he might just.
Oh yeah,
wow,
he might because
he doesn't know where that sword is. He doesn't know where the Master Sword is either.
Even if he did, he doesn't have flippers. He couldn't get it.
Oh my!
Oh,
God.
I just put it. I just realized too.
A
sword is going to be AceZer's go mode.
That's what I mean. Is he could Jesus dash if he got the boots, right? But again, like he's not gonna get those flippers now, right?
Can you? You can mirror in that state.
Yeah. Yeah. You can.
Okay.
Because you go on to you Jesus dash on the shallow water, right? So once you hit the shallow water, you end the Jesus dash state, and then you can.
Right.
But that's like living in 3005. He would have to have scouted that out first, which I'm pretty sure he hasn't. So,
yeah, I don't think he has.
Yeah, he's gonna be checking out Mire right away, and then he's gonna. What I would do, this is me. I would mirror right away, and I would want to see if Desert's blue locked, just so I know how to handle Mire at this point.
Yeah, I think doing Mire second makes the most sense. A lot of times you do it just to be able to get beams from Mire. Fighter Sword doesn't have beams, so that's not a thing you need.
Are you sure they don't?
I'm pretty sure. It's kind of why that sword's kind of a piece of crap.
AceZer was going to 8 so fast, he took a wrong turn to Albuquerque and went to 5 first, so...
That's fine.
It kind of shows you just like how he's like, oh baby, let's go. Are we in go mode? Maybe. That's a bombos. That's a bombos, and he's got Miro. He's definitely gonna scout out Desert first. That was the right call.
I'm actually even. Well, I guess he does need that sword. I was like, why do you even bother coming in here at this point? But so no, we're not. He's not in go mode. He's in. I can clear Ganon's tower
almost.
Mode.
He's in like. I just really hope my sword is not locked behind any of those annoying items I don't have mode.
Yeah,
which can happen.
I mean. Kind of at this point, you just sort of hope it's in Ganon's tower. He does have silver arrows though, so the Ganon fight isn't going to be that ridiculous with just Master Sword. The first 2 phases are pretty difficult, but there's ways of at least getting through it.
This is gonna be an exciting race, honestly. I think it's still gonna be very close. Like it might appear that Koi is behind, but like really, he's gonna be going 10 minutes anyways. And he's gonna have that extra ice palace ahead of him as well, right?
So if you ever get stuck in one of those ant lions, you may not think the L and R buttons ever do anything in this game. That's the one time they do.
No way.
If you mash L, you can actually get out of those sand pits.
Oh, it's not boot locked.
Oh
no. This seat is too much, dude. Like, what the heck?
So. We're still not 100% out of the woods because of GT, but at this point, AceZer's just like, oh, it's not a boot seed, so he is going to. This is such a weird map. Like, I feel like just if I kind of just vaguely describe to you what happened in this seed, where it's like, oh well, AceZer missed the fire rod early because it was in back of escape, and then he missed the boots because that was fire rod locked in Skull Woods. You wouldn't think he'd be doing nearly as well as he is right now, so, like... it's gonna come down to, can we find a sword?
Yep.
Like...
You know what, too? Ace is gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna go mode Ice, Mire, and Skull, and Desert now, and I'm not even gonna worry. Like, Desert, like, it's probably in path, so he might do it. But he's gonna be like, you know what? I'm just gonna find a free sword in GT and that's it. And then what happens if he doesn't? What happens if all the swords are locked behind flippers? Like, it's just, think of those scenarios, right? Like, you think it can never happen?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about my third qualifier where every sword was locked behind a hammer and hammer is my go mode.
One of my qualifiers, my go mode was sword on Uncle after I finished GT. I mirrored and picked up that Master Sword.
I got my sword 45 minutes after go mode, and it was in Laser Bridge, okay? In Pendant TR, after GT clear. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a quality clip of mine. Just me mirroring, going to Uncle, getting that sword, and then going right back into the Ganon fight.
That's an Apathy Duck classic.
To be fair, I know at least 2 other people who did that same thing on that seed. Look, man, if my uncle could take care of himself, you know, he'd be in a better situation. That's all I'm saying. Maybe he'd have his own bed, you know? So yeah, I mean, for all these swords to be flipper locked at this point, it would have to be 2 swords in Swamp, basically. Because we know the one is flipper locked. One of those swords has to be in Swamp, right? There's always one in there.
That's just gross. There could be one on the tablet too, of course, with requiring the Master Sword.
Yeah, one on the tablet.
There's a lot of really bad one-off scenarios where it could be at this point. That's a really, really, really quick go mode, honestly, for me too.
Yeah, 58 minutes. I mean, technically not go mode. We do need a Master Sword to kill Ganon. But at this point, if I was AceZer, I'm sure you probably would agree, you're just going to kind of treat it like go mode and just check the chests that are in your path, and then just end up full clearing GT until you hopefully find one.
He doesn't really have good options though, right? Like he has Mire. Mire's good up until you find the big key, and then it's like, I'm good. Especially the boots.
He's got 3 or 4 checks depending on whether the big key is early, and really the big key just replaces one of those checks in that chain in Ice Palace. So, you know, 3 checks in Ice Palace. You know, one of the ones you would do is you would, you know, go ahead and do Hookshot Cave on the way to GT. That's already finished, so he doesn't really have any options on Death Mountain on the way there. I mean, Ace's best bet is, you know, sword in Mire right here. Doesn't really need it too badly for Mire because he's got those silver arrows. But it would, you know, that's definitely the best case for him. For Koi, best case scenario is Master Sword. I mean, I guess just, you know, swords in Swamp, forcing the pickup of the Master Sword on like Highly Island, basically, because you're never going to go into Swamp. I can't imagine any scenario where Koi heads into Swamp.
Speaking of which, I'm wondering where Koi's going right now. Maybe Graveyard, and maybe Bumper Scout.
Bumper and Graveyard, it looks like. Oh, no, not Bumper. Maybe he scouted it earlier.
Gotta be Graveyard, because he's already done Quickfish. He did Pyramid to Quickfish after Hype Cave.
That is true. Please don't be a sword.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost worse than it being flipper locked. Honestly, Acer would never find his way over here.
There just never is anything in that cave anymore.
Flippers were in Ice Rod Cave. So, and since we can fake Flipper to Ice Palace, they're not going to be hard required in this seed. Potentially, they're not hard required. These swords could be in pretty silly locations at this point.
Alright, that's item number 1, I believe, in Mire.
So Koi is still avoiding the mountain, it looks like.
I think he's thinking what I was hypothesizing, and it's like, is it the lamp or the mirror at this point?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I really cannot fault him for that. It's pure luck that flute ended up in the mountain. It's a 50-50 coin flip, right? And oh my. My. That's a Master Sword.
Okay, so there is no chance Acer goes there before Ganon's Tower.
So
there's no chance he goes to Ice Rod Cave to get his flippers before GT. There's only one sword left in the world.
Let's talk GT right now. 15 items junk, and then the rest is fill. And you have one sword remaining. You have Swamp Palace you've not scouted out. I'm not sure if we're going to see both items in Mire. And we've already seen all of Ice.
I think we are going to see all. We already found one heart, one item in Mire. At this point, all the chests are just in path for AceZer. I can't imagine him.
Well Ace is going to find the
here.
big key here.
In his situation, I feel like you just bite the bullet and check this big chest.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know, I probably would just go, but I get it. I get why you want to do this, just in case.
Yeah, this isn't that long of a check. It's not. If this was like you have mastered and you're looking for temper to make it faster, then yeah, just go. But in the fact where you can't even kill Ganon and complete the game right now, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so this race is hot right now. Like, again, I'm gonna stress that point that Koi might seem behind, but he has knowledge of where his tempered sword is now. And I say his tempered sword now because he just got his master sword at Smith's. AceZer does not have flippers, nor does he have boots. So both his options to get to that Lake Hylia check and even scouted are dead. So
this is bad for Koi though. This is bad for Koi until Koi finds a sword in here, which he won't be happy for, but it's going to be amazingly great for him if that's the case. So I'm kind of rooting for a sword in here. Honestly, if it's a sword in GT, this match is pretty much done right now.
He has to feel behind.
Yeah.
Like, why would you go to hookshot in the swamp?
I understand. Oh yeah, it's hookshotless too. Like,
yeah, if you had hookshot, I get
what
it.
You're saying about the flute and everything, but like, there's just so many items.
Yeah, no, I agree. Why would you? I'm speechless.
Yeah, I think getting a couple of those maybe like easy quick checks off. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. Don't leave the flute in somewhere easy. But like I said before, once you never want to do all these checks and then you find the lamp and it's like, by the way, you can go up to Death Mountain, which you fully had the capability of doing this entire time. Hell, he's already been up there. It's just he's avoiding it because it's not in logic. Yeah, Koi has been up to Death Mountain. But he went up there without mirror. So he only was able to do the Old Man check and Spectral Rock check.
Can you imagine if he finds Tempered Sword here?
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, if all Koi finds in Tempered Sword here, he's gonna feel like he lost this match. But finding that sword in here would be his saving grace. That's the only thing that can save him. Is a sword that he does not need in this dungeon. So I'm 100% rooting for a sword, maybe not necessarily in Swamp, but just maybe on a tablet or something. Because I mean, not to be mean to Ace or anything, but it's going to make the end of this match a lot more exciting. And then I always like the post GT, you're not in go mode routing. A bit. It makes some good watching.
Well, by some miracle, Ace does dodge his sword in GT. Then we're off to the races still. Like, but we have to get to that point, right? Unless, of course, Koi does find one here, like you're mentioning.
Well, and geez,
at this point,
we're still talking about this sword. There's still the 1 in 22 with Torch if he doesn't.
Yep.
He may. Would you clear out skeletons here?
He probably will, because if you went for that Mire big chest, I think he's probably thinking along your lines of, I gotta check what's in line. Me personally, I probably just skip it. I'm like, it's not worth that risk. It's now seconds in my game, and I'm gonna assume that my opponent's right behind me if they did a similar route. But Ace, like in Ace's mind, like let's go back to what Ace has actually done in this race, and I've skipped quite a bit of Overworld. I'm probably feeling ahead. So I think I'm gonna agree with you, and I probably would check that chest knowing that. But in a normal circumstance, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's either a sword, which he absolutely needs, or I mean, the only other thing that can speed him up is boots, which it turns out is there. So I think I'd prefer to see the checks after Moth here. But I mean, they are kind of long. He's gonna have to kill Moth. I actually missed where the boots even were in this dungeon.
It was in the big chest, so you had to get the big key from the maze, and then you had to go to the big chest to get them. So
Okay.
it's a travel. Like
It is
it's
a
a
travel.
big commitment.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the only 2 checks he has left to make in this dungeon.
And
So,
there's the lamp and swamp. Oh.
so yeah, exactly what we were talking about. I mean, we kind of knew it had to be here, right? With everything we've seen so far, really between the 2 guys, nothing we're missing. So like, yeah, you just never, get scared about logic breaking, and it's the lamp, which you already have the fire source for. Like I know what you're saying, where it could be a 50-50, but I just feel like pushing ahead is the better play at that point, just because if nothing else, you're clearing off your goals, and you can always come back to find it. I mean, lamp, sure, it speeds you up, but I don't know.
I would definitely agree with you in that circumstance. Like before a swamp, I would definitely go up mountain. I agree with that 100%. But again, just trying to kind of theory craft from where they're at. You have to imagine Koi feels behind, and that's why he kind of made the play. So it's not like he's hoping to just find that flute there, but also maybe something else as well, right?
Ooh, okay, we do have a blue potion here.
Ace, please.
This is why I tend to just use fighter sword in this fight, honestly.
It's a tough fight, man.
Hammer is just so bad on this fight, and the benefits of the spins I was saying before.
It's
You
really
gotta do a
only
lot of
bad.
spin, but
It's only bad when you keep hitting them towards the spikes as well, because then Moth tends to hook onto them. Fire Rod's a really good tool to kind of get it out of it, because it'll push it forward.
yeah, Fire Rod does surprisingly little damage to Moth. I do tend to use it, like you said, more as not as a weapon to damage him, but more as a get off the spikes, please.
Well, he's committing to that chest. If he commits to that, he commits the big chest. But that's only part of the puzzle. Like, you get boots, sure.
I can see making this and skipping big chest. You are going to save yourself some walking, and you can just...
Again, it's the fact of where the sword is, right? Like, you have to scout it to know that you need to do it, right?
Okay, so he's at least going to get boots. That takes the GT big key off the table. I wouldn't be surprised in Ace's mind once you find these boots that all of a sudden he feels behind.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's like, man, that would have been great to find.
Oh, he never even checked this. Interesting.
I thought he did. Huh.
That's a little surprising. I mean, that is
Oh, I know why. He didn't have Fire Rod. So I've seen this from some
Yeah.
runners. They just don't want to do the mid. They'll just do the front
Yeah,
and bail.
I was about to say it's a little bit of a trick, but I don't know. I feel like once you've started doing these, the problem with these, like a lot of players go like, oh, it's basically just overworld checks. The problem is they're actually weighted less than overworld checks because maps, compasses, and keys are in here. So you have to check 4 items for effectively 2, and there's our boots. So yeah, AceZer is probably not feeling happy about that. I mean, at this point, like, it feels like he has such a big lead, but wherever this sword is. Although at this point, it's feeling kind of likely that there's one.
Wait. Can you imagine he fake flippers, checks island on his way to ice? Is he that much of a gamer?
Oh, he's not even going to... Oh, he never
yeah. Like I said, if you put these off and you're still looking for things, you're eventually gonna have to come back to them. And this is the right play before ice. 100%, this is the right play. Yeah, so he probably does damn too, looking just for a free sword at that point. That's all he needs.
If you were in AceZer suit and you did everything, missing all the stuff, like there's no way you feel ahead here, right? Especially you don't even have a sword. Like there's no way you're like, oh, I'm doing great this seed.
I think missing the boots and then still not having the sword and having to come back to this is pretty I don't know. It's tough to say.
I think if you're playing the seed and you find those boots late and you see like how fast you got in go mode and you didn't have the boots for any of that, you look at the timer and go like, this is like a 118 jet seed, so I am hosed.
I think what I would do is I would just think, hey, you know what? I feel like my opponent's probably having the same issues, or maybe different issues, and I'm still doing okay. Because again, he's like 6 crystals in at 112. His only real hiccup so far was those late boots. Like, let's be honest, everything else has been like fine for him.
Yeah. So Ace missed that fire rod shot there because he didn't set up the spooky variable correctly. You actually, to make that shot, you actually have to reset it back to 0. If you just call the bird without it actually showing up, it puts it in a better state and it pretty much guarantees that easy shot. It's a really minor thing. It doesn't even really save that time. It just makes that shot like incredibly easy to get. So I always just hit the flute as I'm going in before I pick up the rock.
You know what I do? I just use my fire rod in that room. The tale of 2 different runners right here, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
will be taking my 3 frames on you every single time then. Except for when I have to menu back to flute and then I lose 2 seconds because of 2 menus, but we won't worry about that.
I'm like an absolute barbarian when it comes to this game. I like know nothing, but I just play the game. That's pretty much how I would put it. I've been exposed. But hey, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoy watching you because sometimes it's like, hey, this guy's pretty good this game, and the other rooms is like nails on a chalkboard to me. Like, what is happening?
Yep. That's me. Alright, so Koi is checking out the East Death Mountain portion here. He will run into his Ice Rod. We do know that he'll be able to get into TR. That will lead to his hookshot. He's going to complete the rest of TR as it is a crystal. And then it becomes, hey, I can get my flute from Hookshot Cave. Then he will be in go mode. He'll just have Desert and Mire remaining, and he won't have to kind of spend time with these extra checks.
Yeah,
he just goes right to GT and go.
This seed is 100% straightforward for Koi at this point. Like, he's going to get all those items, basically do TR, do Mire, do Desert Palace, and then be in go mode. And it's just like that's 3 dungeons that Koi is going to have to do before effectively AceZer has to do 0 of them. He's almost done with Ice Palace right now. But if that sword is somewhere funky, basically. We haven't seen Ether Tablet check. Did Koi check that? No, he didn't. He didn't have book.
I don't think so. Yeah,
book is over here.
Yep.
So I expect AceZer will peel that off right before GT. Just looking for that sword. It makes sense. He may actually go up and right to TR instead of the normal play, just to do that, to save the 2 mirrors. Oh, don't push that. Okay. Jeez. Oof.
What were you worried, sorry?
Oh, AceZer got the pushing animation on the right side of the block, and he was about to push that thing to the left.
Oh,
he was
no.
like he was a frame away from that thing to start anti-blocking.
And mirror.
No, you don't have to mirror. You just have to reset the room, go back up, and drop into the pots.
Yeah. I'm thinking the wrong room. Alright, so Ace is going to have a combination of hammer and fire rod shots here. Pretty similar to what Koi had to deal with.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of hearts and blue mail, so it's not going to be too scary. You can get a couple cheeky hits in. Alright, now it's getting a little scary. Okay, now it's scary. There's no help for you there.
Show us what you're made of, kid.
Oh, I saw that coming from that hammer. Yeah, you really got to be careful with Cole, so you're getting yourself in corners like that.
So that's gonna narrow the gap a little bit. I don't think significant, but it's definitely gonna make it a lot closer now.
Yeah, it's about a
3 minutes, right?
3 minute time loss for AceZer.
So that's like almost that swamp tip back that Koi did now.
Yeah.
And he's honestly gonna do the right play here. He's not stressing out about it. He's not rushing back in. He's gonna cash in this mushroom, check to see what item it is, and he's also gonna buy another potion. He's gonna refill on green first, and then blue.
No, it's not a sword. Yeah, I honestly I think I would prefer once Acer got down to those low hearts, instead of continuing with the hammer, just do the fighter sword spins. They're weak, but they're a little safer. I think you do lock yourself with motion that you can get hit by the ice, but as long as you're paying attention to that, it's I think a little bit easier to deal with.
It's funny we had that exact same conversation. I think yesterday. It was yesterday or the day before about Cold Stare with Fighter Sword and Hammer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're like, are you kidding me? Why didn't you do this?
Yeah, you used hammer instead of fire rod. Like,
Yep.
fire rod hits like a truck. You have bombos.
I'm just like, I got you. Again, it's just we're creatures of habits, right? We just get really comfortable in what we do, and then you just kind of do it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny watching Acer make that shot over and over again. I wonder if he knows about the spooky variable, because it's either like you know about the variable and you reset it, or you have a slightly different movement in that room to kill that. Like I'm sure you come in, go a little further to the left, wait a bit, and then shoot him, right? But I don't think that death changes where we are in this match overall. I think it's the same situation. If that sword is in GT, I think this is Acer's match still. If the sword is anywhere else, then Koi's in decent shape, actually, at that point. So it just comes down to that. The two swords that we found so far, one is on Lake High, the island, which Acer doesn't even know about, but he requires the flippers from Ice Rod Cave. Or I guess he could water walk it, which would require basically going to Ice Rod Cave to do. And the other one was... What was the other one?
It was Smith's.
Smith's, that's right. Smith's sequence. So
again, though, the big thing for Hylia is he'd have to scout it, right?
Yeah, once he scouts it. If he scouts it, he might
can't.
scout it, and then
he can't, not from ice.
Oh, he can't now.
You can't get flip. You can't get unless he Ancillas. He can actually Ancilla from that drawbridge.
He could.
But if he needs to know like how to do it, and like that's really specific. I wouldn't expect him to. I definitely wouldn't expect any runner to, but
does have the red boom, which is one of the longer persisting ones. Red boom plus cane. Oh, he just tried to go for the ice.
From that one, 2 bombs and 2 right cane shots is probably the best. But yeah,
I think Acer just tried to do the ice palace clips, making him instantly move up my favorite rando runner ranking list.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, we were talking about the Splash Elite just to scout it, not necessarily to get the item. He's got the boots, which he could use it to get him that way. But that feels like a pretty cheeky play. If anything, he might just save and quit and check it real quick from Link's house before we're just floating away.
It's getting a little scary again.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't go with a blue potion, honestly, with how much cash he has.
He did get he got a blue and a green.
Oh, did he? Okay. Well,
yeah, he bought the blue.
He's gonna want it.
Yeah, he's got.
Don't do this to me.
One more hit. Oh, now he wants it.
It's gonna be like the safest Cold Stare fight ever. Yeah.
Yeah, Fire Rod, 1 puff left. This guy is gonna go down hard. And there we go.
Right. Nice fight by Koi on Trinex. He's going to have his 5th crystal. He's shortly going to be in go mode, in full go mode, with 2 swords and change. All he needs to do is go to Hookshot Cave. Meanwhile, AceZer is on his way to GT.
A little surprising he didn't do Hookshot Cave before I guess Turok go mode doesn't save you that much.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in here that you would need for, but...
Yeah, I mean, you could mirror it for
did.
everything and everything. He checked one item.
Here.
Well, because he got the hookshot in TR, right? So.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Okay.
It's okay, I got you.
Thank you. And hopefully, Ace... Oh, wait, no. Never mind. I was thinking, Acer should totally check Aether Tablet. It doesn't matter if he checks it. Even if it's a sword, like... He's gonna need his Go modem to get that item, so never mind. He's not checking Aether Tablet. That'd be silly.
All that's gonna tell us is that he's just gonna spend 10 minutes clearing GT for nothing at that point, right? So
yeah, and since he doesn't know what the other ones is, it doesn't even tell him that. So
right,
there's no reason for him to check it.
Was Spike Cave checked?
I do not think Spike Cave.
So that's another one.
Spike Cave was
so
checked.
Basically the only spots I can think of, correct me if I'm wrong, that Sword can be in is Half a Swamp at the north end, Hookshot locked, Pedestal, Fat Fairy Cash-In, GT.
Tablets. Either tablets.
Tablets, yes. But if I'm thinking singular sword that's outside of that scenario, then I wouldn't even think of that at that point.
Yeah, tablet obviously Acer doesn't care about because he would need his go mode before getting that, and he just wouldn't care. So, what is that, like a 50? Because, what, there's... How many non-junk items are in here? 7?
There's 22 total. What? Map, compass, small keys, the big key, and then the junk.
Yeah,
I believe the junk would denotate the map and compass, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'm actually, again, I'm a barbarian, right? I'm not too familiar with some of the finer points of the randomizer.
Yeah, that stuff I really don't know much about. Now, spooky save is to save 3 frames. That's my really area of expertise. But things that would actually help in randomizer, not so much.
Nice early big key there, bro.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not really gonna help him out too much. I wonder if he's just gonna go ahead to... No, he's gonna go ahead and go back to left side here.
Yeah, and we do have the items up above as well, but again, I think that's where you start sweating it. Is you're like, there just has to be a sword here, right? And that's ultimately going to come down to what does AceZer do next at that point. And
yeah,
it's
even
gonna be really interesting to see where he goes.
Even with, you know, where we've seen some other swords, it still feels like there's a pretty good chance of a sword being in here. Which is, yeah. I mean, there's some locations, but not a lot that we just do not know about.
I think the best checks for him would probably be boots checks into like the Smith's Purple Chest chain, just because of, I'm thinking like
Smith's Purple
amount
Chest
of items in a row and the mirror spots, right?
I would think Smith's Purple Chest into Pyramid Fairy.
Like, that's probably where I would go. Like, I get it. I think I don't remember if Zora or Zero, sorry, has checked the Zora area. I don't think so.
I could see Ice Rod Cave pretty. Unfortunately, he doesn't know that would effectively give him the sword he needs. But with flutes and boots, that'd be a pretty quick check too.
That'd be funny, just because he's like, huh, that's where those were.
Yeah, and then he still doesn't. I mean, at that point, I feel like he would scout immediately. Like with where they are, it's like, all right, let me just check out this island, and then that'd give it to him. So I could see Ice Shard Cave doing it for him. If that's where is Koi? Yeah, he's in Mr. Mario, still got to do Desert Palace. If that's the way this plays out, where he goes straight to Ice Rod, then checks Lake Hylia, I think Acer still takes this one. I think this is definitely a big enough lead for that to be true.
Interesting to note, Koi actually got his Tempered Sword in Game 3 in the random room, so it'll be fitting if Ace were to get one here for the reverse bailout. The value village of chest rooms, ladies and gentlemen. 3 bombs and 10 arrows. Which is good because Ace didn't have any bombs left. He could have got them from the Bob chest room, but still.
So we're down to Ice Armos and upstairs, it looks like.
Let the games begin. For dramatic, I want it upstairs. If it's up here, it's like,
for drama,
you know
you
what
want
I mean?
it not in here.
Yeah.
You want it in Swamp.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So we're down
Does he
to...
go tile room? Oh, he's gonna go big chest. That's smart.
Yeah, you definitely do big chest. The situations I usually do big chest and then I just skip tile room, so ungodly slow.
Imagine
Like-
though, it's your fourth.
Yeah. Imagine if it was in there. It's a rarely seen GT big chest open and it's the sword. That'd be exciting. Yeah, skipping tile room makes sense. I mean, the thing is, it's not one item you're looking for; it's 3. We know where 2 of them are. There's still 1 at large, so even to us, there's still a chance that we could find it. But in AceZer's mind, there's 3. He hasn't even seen the scoutable one on like Hylia.
I do agree with Ace's commitment not to check it too, because again, he has so many places to go to that are not named tile room. That are much faster. So like I think he's just plays the odds at that point and says, you know what, there's 3 swords out there, even if there's 1 here, like I have better odds out there, so.
Yeah, he's still got 4 checks upstairs, and then like the handful of checks we said earlier. And if he does, it's, you know, he's either going to decide to make that early Ice Rod cave play, or might just start at Thieves in the Smith sequence and get it right away there. So I think he won't be looking for it for too long if it's not upstairs. I feel like either one of those is things you would do sooner than later. I don't really know what else he would do. Like you don't go to Swamp first, right? That seems crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of think Ice Rod is the one that makes the most sense. You know, something that was available relatively early, boots and flute, you can get over there pretty quick. And then once you find those slippers, you have to look at the island, right?
I think if you get those flippers, you just do the flipper checks, and yeah, you're gonna run into it eventually. And then you're just like, oh, there it is. And that's a really quick draw right to Ganon as well. Like that's probably the most as optimal of a sword placement as you can get.
Yeah.
Another spot I doubt we've checked just because of where that shovel was the dig spot as well. That's another one I just kind of reminded myself about. I've actually seen swords there bail runners out as well, so that'll be interesting. Ace having a little bit of trouble here with Landmol's 2 while Koi is doing Landmol's 1, and Koi getting the 1 cycle there. Very.
Yeah, the lag on the silver arrows makes hitting Lambo surprisingly difficult with that bow.
Yeah, I think there's some nerves on Ace's side, but look at, you gotta put yourself in these runners' shoes. They know like they're under a spotlight. They know a lot of people are gonna come and watch this race. They know they've already tied once, so that kind of shell shocks you, right? And you're just like, yeah, I just want to beat the game, please.
Yeah, again with, you know, I was saying before where Ace was thinking like, you know, if he missing those boots for so long, he was just thinking maybe Koi's a mile ahead of him. And this is just like some sort of like crazy like 118 jet seat or something. But now that Koi still hasn't finished, you know, Ace may just be thinking like Koi just kind of got lost, which is kind of what happened.
Oh yeah, there's the nerves map right there.
I think once like it kind of gets to this point where you like it's obvious your opponent didn't god mode the seed. You just played straightforward at that point. You stop trying to metagame or anything. Kind of just figure they did similar things to you and hope you just played a little bit better.
All right,
Down
so
to
10 arrows.
3.
A mini helmet that doesn't want to die nor really needs to die. You have 3
Yeah,
small keys.
Yeah, did not need to
20
die.
rupees.
Down to 2.
Also, just kind of sneaking under the radar there. Koi on his way to GT. If there is no sword here, clock's ticking. Find your sword. Oh my god, there it is.
No.
The bailout. Wow. So, yeah, this is Ace's race to lose now at this point.
Yeah. Master
Sword versus Tempered is not a factor at this point. Not with this distance. It will be a factor if Ace has the meltdown. That's really what it comes down to.
Well, he has got silvers, so lamp is not that big of a deal. You don't even care if you make torch glitch. Silvers is if it was silverless without lamp, that fight is you have to really know what you'd be doing. In fact, you pretty much need a potion for that, unless you keep getting triples the entire fight, which is incredibly difficult.
You know, that's incredible. It was 2 checks away from Koi remaining that competitive parity in this match. It's just really unfortunate, right?
Yeah, I mean, Koi's really caught up about. I mean, he's still got all of Ganon's tower to do, but Koi's Ganon tower is going to be a lot fast. Well,
depends on what route he does.
Right.
Yeah, he might do Dark Magician. He could do that. He could do Dark Magician. We'll have to wait and see. If he menus the mirror, then we'll know what's up. Okay, if he's killing these Selphos, he's going left. So yeah, that's gonna just
Yeah, so at this point, AceZer just needs a disaster. I don't think he's got any potions left, so he does have to have a pretty clean fight.
He doesn't. He could use some cape strats for phase 2 of Ganon with the Master Sword. I personally don't like doing that without half magic, but there's instances where you definitely want to, or even Blue Cane could bail you up, but of course he does not have that.
Yeah.
So it's down to his wits here, so let's see what you got.
I know he used a blue on the Cold Stare fight. I don't think he went and got another one.
He used I think he used another blue in the GT climb, so I don't think he has one left. He might have another one. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, but doing this Master Sword Ganon fight at all, or optimally, it's one of the harder fights in the game. It's just very difficult. A lot of stuff going on. The fact that you have to spin it really changes the whole way this fight plays out.
Ooh, God pattern. There we go. Get in there. All right, he's good. Yeah, so he's going to be able to do a 1 cycle of phase 2 here.
Yeah, let's see if he can. He needs 6 doubles here.
He'll get it with Cape.
Oh, yeah, okay. Nope. 5.
It's because he bounced off. So on his first swing there, like when Ganon rested his trident, he didn't get that spin off, and he got the single off to the left. So that 1 spin there gave him the one he needed.
Yeah, he was a little slow getting in there. It's really hard.
It was literally one spin away because he missed that one double.
Two cycling phase 2 is still very good. You know, he got good RG and just played it correctly. Yeah,
that's really what you want from a Master Sword Ganon fight. When you get that, you just you don't care about temper anymore. You're just like, all right, well, this is free.
Yeah, and then the 4th phase should be relatively straightforward. We're not even going to really worry about torch glitch here. If you get it, great. If not, who cares? Just gonna have these silver arrows right into him to finish him off.
I personally...
Oh,
he's got blue. But I like to...
he does have blue. Okay, we're fine.
I personally like to sit and wait for that triple now. With the Master Sword, but he gets a nice double there.
And that... barring any unforeseen bridge incidents, that is going to be a GG for AceZer.
Ooh. That was a fantastic match.
And AceZer finishing off an official SRL time of 1:37.09.
Yeah, man, that was a great match call. 2 fantastic runners. Very, very close race, and it was good stuff to watch.
Yeah, it was really good. Like, you know, some of the more interesting route divergence I've ever seen in a
For
run.
sure.
And we are now joined by AceZer0187 now. GG.
Thanks. GG Koi. That was a fun one.
Yeah, that was the. I guess we'll first start with the fire rod. Missing that really early. What did you think about that, and why did you never end up going back to Skull Woods? I guess were the two main things off of that one.
Really I guess to answer the second part first, not going back to Skull Woods was mostly just based off item density. I knew there was only one item there, so even though it was a crystal, I felt like it'd be better to go back to that with like more things. Like if I had Boots and Mirror, which I ended up getting later to check, like the north side of Dark World. So I just had other like more dense locations I wanted to check before that. But yeah, I know I was really frustrated when I found that fire rod, especially since I wanted to do pod, but with the amount of health I had and no light source and only fighter's sword, I wasn't very confident with the turtle room. So of course I immediately find fire rod after leaving that and went back.
Yeah, that's what we were speculating as well. It makes perfect sense. And we're also joined by Koi right now. GG Koi.
Where was the fire on?
Back of escape.
Yeah, it was.
Why didn't you get it?
He didn't get a bomb.
Rats have the 8 bomb drops. Oh my god,
I
you don't know
killed,
the
like,
prize
4 or
packs,
5
dude? You gotta learn the prize packs.
I killed like 4 rats and didn't get a single bomb.
It's I think it's the 4th or 5th one in that prize pack is 8 bombs.
Yeah, I wasn't sure just because I killed so many and got nothing. So I just figured it
There you
wasn't
go.
worth it to
It's,
keep killing them.
If your first kill drops a bomb, obviously you're done. If it drops a small magic, keep killing. If it drops a heart, then you keep killing. And if it's a fairy second, then you're gonna get bombs. If it's anything after the heart other than fairy, then you don't. So those 3 are the ones you look for.
Yeah, I actually misread that too. I forgot about the 8-pack on that one because it's one you don't actually want normally.
It's the Pokey prize pack from NMD.
Yeah, and normally you don't want the 8. You hate that one. That one's so I just completely forgot about it. But yeah, it was really weird because early on, you know, Acer missed that fire rod, so he did Skull Woods, got the mitts, and then basically just put off Skull Woods to ever find the boots. So you had fire rod and boots, and it looked like you had a pretty big advantage. But then I guess because you got a big haul, you're like, well, I don't need to do Thieves Town, and skipped out on that, missing the bow.
Oh, that wasn't a big deal though, because I just go right back there. Like, what did I do?
Yeah, but it was just
instead of going to Thieves.
It was just one of the things that you ended up. It was just
Yeah,
like
I didn't
you
do it
guys
because
were
I
both
didn't
going,
want to. I didn't want to full clear it. And I had a fairy in a bottle because I didn't die to Mothula because for some reason I don't suck today. So I didn't want to have to like get rid of my fairy just to death warp or something. So I was like, I'll just come back to Thieves later, and I did, and it was a bow.
Yeah, and then basically the turning point in the match was putting off the Death Mountain play over Swamp. So I guess we'll ask about that. Why did you know, the thought process behind putting off Death Mountain and going into Swamp instead?
Because the mountains sucked and it wasn't in logic.
All right.
I have like half of what I need to do things up there. Like I have to go up the mirror way because I don't have the hook shot. I have to orphan hookshot cave if I don't find it up there. I can go into Turtle Rock probably, but I don't have the ice rod. I can do Hera basement for a pendant. I don't even have the book for Ether Tablet. Like the whole mountain just looks so disgusting. I just don't want to go up there. Like one thing. I just want one thing before I go up there. And because I knew it was out of logic, and one of the items I might be skipping when I go up there is a required item, the flute. I thought, it sure looks like Swamp's going to be the play here. And I was right, but I was wrong,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually sorry, that's actually really funny that Coy and I talked about this a little bit in the race channel. The one of the main reasons I did do Death Mountain is because it was out of logic. I wanted to know if it was the lamp or the flute that locked it, and see if I could find one of those up there, perhaps. So that was a big gamble, and then of course I found the flute, learned it was lamp locked, but didn't really need the lamps, so just pressed on and got really lucky with the medallion, of course.
Yeah. So do you want to know where the swords were, by the way?
Yeah, Coy told me he got master at the Smiths, and tempered was the Hylia Island.
Yeah, with flippers in Ice Rod Cave. we were speculating where you were going to go if you didn't find that last sword on top of GT, but it was if that sword wasn't there, it would have been really close again. Koi had just entered GT and would have been hot on your heels, so it just depends on where you decided to go at that point. I don't think any of those swords would have been too far out before you found them, but
Yeah, I wasn't sure where I was going to go next either. I was trying to decide between Swamp or the other flipper checks. So it kind of would have been a coin flip as to whether I would have went the right direction and got the one on Hylia Island or not.
This was just it was just a pretty rude seed for the way that I typically play the game. Because I put a lot of stock in trying to read the logic from the seed, like trying to predict with like greater probability of where progression's going to be and stuff. And as you can see, like I have some sense of how that works. Like I knew there was going to be progression in Swamp. It just happened to be something that's sequence breakable. I was thorough on the overworld in the beginning game, and I got the flippers, but they just happened to be sequence breakable. I was thorough and found a bunch of swords, and there just happened to be one at the back of GT. Like it just everything was just on the way, and there was nothing I could do about that if my opponent wasn't as thorough as I was.
yeah, like I said, it was mostly that that Death Mountain play was the. I mean, you're right with so much of what you look for in a Death Mountain clear was actually on Death Mountain. It really lowers the weight of it. So just really making that decision was 90% of the seed, and then the the bailout of the sword in GT was the other main thing.
I probably wouldn't have won even if there wasn't a sword in GT, because I imagine like Smith sequence is probably one of the first places you'd be going.
Yeah, it would have been close. So, does any final thoughts from anyone else from anything about the seed? All right.
Not really. Just want to say GG's again, Koi. That was a good
Dude,
4 matches.
I'm just glad it's over. Like I am so done. I'm really ecstatic that it's over now.
Well, that works out because I'm ecstatic that I'm moving on.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Thanks.
It's good. Sounds like you guys kind of both got what you want. So
I
yeah,
didn't want to lose,
good game, guys.
but I'm not unhappy that I did.
But yeah. All right. So AceZer moves on. Unfortunately, Koi will be parting ways now in the tournament, and we're getting closer and closer to our picture of the final 64. Exciting series. This is actually probably a good. This was. I almost want to call it series of the match. It was really fun to watch you two. So kudos to you guys. It's quite the show.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Glad it was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was real fun to watch. So I think that's pretty much does it for us. I don't think there's anything coming up on this Speed Gaming channel. I know there's a Super Metroid combo randomizer coming up on Speed Gaming 2, I think. Some jerks will be playing that.
Yeah, about that.
Some jerks.
Some jerks.
Playing in it.
But I think that does it for us today. Follow our racers, both AceZer and Koi. They're both just real experience at this game, real fun to watch. Follow Solska here. Follow our tracker, Mind of Me. Just really one of the best trackers that we could ask for today. And that is, I guess, all for me. I am Apathy Duck.
I'm some guy.
All right. And have a good day, everyone.
Bye.